Jeremy Clarkson's 85 pounds menu causes outrage with Farmer's Dog customers over same complaint. Food, farming and a genius idea. On a beautiful spring morning in Oxfordshire, Jeremy Clarkson, the reluctant farmer, former Top Gear driver, and current owner of Diddley Squat Farm, stood outside his pub, breathing in the fresh air, wondering, who am I going to piss off today? Just a few weeks ago, he caused a social media storm with his Clarkson Pizza Night, where customers pay £40 for a paper-thin pizza baked in a homemade wood-fired oven. But that hasn't stopped him from experimenting with a new idea, the farm-to-fork experience. The name sounds fancy, but it's essentially just farm-made food, eggs, pork, vegetables and a little cider, presented in English, fine dining, style. The price? £85 a plate. Jeremy promoted the show with a YouTube video, declaring, "If you've ever had an omelette and thought, oh, I wish this was on a black stone plate and sprinkled with Cornish sea salt, then this is the experience for you." The seats were sold out within 48 hours. People flocked to Diddley Squat Pub. Some were curious. Some genuinely liked eggs, but most were eager to see what Jeremy would do next. Farmer's Dog and the mysterious complaint. Not far away, at the end of Chadlington Village, there is a small pub called the Farmer's Dog. It is run by Graham Wilkins, a 60-year-old who loves cooking, hates the media and hates Jeremy Clarkson. The Farmer's Dog is a traditional pub, oak, draft beer, ham pies and homemade sausages served on enamel plates since 1994. Graham watches Jeremy's progress with a wary eye. But it wasn't the 85 pounds or the elaborate food that had him riled up. It was the same complaint his guests had made, now appearing on Jeremy's show. A TripAdvisor review of the Farm to Fork experience reads, "The food was okay, but the tables and chairs were too small, the noise from the cowshed was unbearable, and I had to wait 50 minutes for a boiled egg." Graham grinned. That's exactly what people had written about his place, but when it came to Jeremy, people called it authentic country style. Graham grinned. That was exactly what was written about his restaurant, but when it came to Jeremy, it was authentic country style. Angry and hungry customers. The week of the 85-pound menu launch was a noisy one. Sitting on a rickety wooden stool, Helen Marriott, a visitor from London, looked down at the meal in front of her. A large plate with 3 pieces of spiral-cut carrots, a soft-boiled egg, a few grains of salt, and a matchbox-sized piece of pork. She asked, "Excuse me, is this the main course?" The waiter, wearing an apron that read, "Eat like a farmer," replied. "Yes, sir. It's called the Honest Hog. We eat it every day." Helen looked up at her boyfriend, who had just paid £170 for the meal. "We've been ripped off." At the same time, another guest, a food critic for The Guardian, posted a shocking headline. "Clarkson calls this food. I call it an expensive joke." Graham fired back. Graham from the Farmer's Dog didn't miss the opportunity. He printed out The Guardian's review, framed it, and hung it on his shop's door with the words, "We also boil eggs here, but only for £7. He also hired a van, mounted a sign that read, "Reasonably priced eggs. No need to meet Clarkson," and parked it right next to the entrance of Diddley Squat Farm. Jeremy's guests, already annoyed by the expensive food, began to compare. Social media was divided into 2 camps. Jeremy's supporters called him a marketing genius, detractors called for #boycott Clarkson menu. The local council got involved. The row grew so heated that Chadlington Council called a special meeting. Margaret Witherspoon, the council's chairperson, yes, her again, said, "We've had 42 complaints about the financially deceptive menu at Diddley Squat Pub. And another 11 about the noise the cows make." Jeremy appeared at the meeting, holding a sample of Farm to Fork, and waved it in front of the council. "This," he said, "is food. It's art. It's a philosophy. It's eggs with salt." And I'm going to keep serving it, until people understand. Simplicity is luxury. Margaret banged on the table. And 85 pounds is. What? Clarkson replied. It's the price of the experience of eating eggs near a cowshed. That, ladies and gentlemen, doesn't happen in London. International media got involved. The BBC, Sky News, The New York Times, and even Le Monde reported on the Clarkson and the 85 pounds egg incident. A Vogue editor wrote, in an age where people pay £20 for a sizzling cocktail, 85 pounds for a meal with Jeremy Clarkson is not so crazy. Another celebrity chef, Gordon Ramsay, chimed in on Instagram. If he's going to sell eggs for gold, at least don't let them get cold. The truth revealed and the surprising confession. One night, Clarkson posted a confession video on his YouTube channel. I admit, I experimented with an 85 pounds menu to see if anyone really cared about the value of the food. Turns out, a lot of people didn't care. As long as it was me, a field, and the chance to check in, slowly living. But okay, from next week, I'm launching a new version. Eggs cider minus 9 pounds combo. Graham, upon hearing the news, just smirked. Victory. But I still don't like that guy. The end, or a new beginning? Despite the controversy, the number of visitors to Diddley Squat Farm has not decreased. Young people still flocked, this time to eat reasonably priced eggs, buy bottled cow urine, and take pictures with the famous chicken that appeared on Clarkson's farm. Farmer's dog also sees more diners, who say they discovered real flavor in a place without cameras. Jeremy sits on a wooden bench, looking out at the fields, sipping cider and telling Lisa. They may hate me, but they still come, and they still eat eggs. Clarkson may be controversial, but he knows one thing. If you can get people to pay 85 pounds for cheap food, you're not just a farmer. You're a PR magician.